Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening and just being a part of this little community that I've just really love serving. And I also want to remind you about the Healthy Together group. That is a free Facebook group that I created so that we as women can just come together and form a collective of individuals that are dedicated to living happy, healthy, and joy-filled lives. And I am going to be filling that group with even more information and really making sure that you have what you need in order to feel supported. And you can sign up for that at ebonycolina.com/healthy together. And let's just have fun. And that is something that I love doing. And I just want to be able to help other people get to that same point as well. In today's episode, we're going to start another series. And I get so many questions and I'm doing a video series on it. But I just wanted to give you guys the initial upfront view of what is going on for this series. And it's all about fighting fatigue. So what I want to start talking about is diet. And I've talked about this on an Instagram live a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to revisit it. Now, part of how I've come to really getting a lot of energy has been through just that, my diet. Now, you may be wondering, okay, there's keto this, there's gluten-free this, there's paleo this, there is starve yourself that. And I just have learned that for me, there is no one way of eating. And I get a lot of questions oftentimes about what diet do I think is best or superior. And I don't really have an answer to that. And the reason why is because I've learned that depending on the season of life that I'm in, depending on what's going on with my health at the time, different foods serve me at different times. So for me, it's more so about eating what my body is craving and what it needs. And I've been doing this for a while. So I've started to learn when my body is craving certain things, I know what to fuel it. And I've gone to see a dietitian, a nutritionist, as well as a GI doc to kind of confirm those cravings according to my lab values. And again, that is not where everyone is starting from. So here is how I'm going to show you what I did in the beginning. So first of all, it's June. So I really want to just say congratulations for making it through half the year. Now, you may be saying, oh my gosh, it's June already. What am I going to do? Time is going by. I don't want you to live in that constant rush of things. And one of the things that I had to learn was being okay with failure. Now, I set out with about 10 goals in the beginning of the year, and now I've cut that down to 5, mostly because I've realized that sometimes it just doesn't work out. And we're so ambitious in the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden we get to this point and we're like, goals, whatever. And I want to encourage you to not do that. And the biggest reason why is had I actually given up on some of my goals, I wouldn't be here now in terms of my diet. And initially, part of my goal for a year, a couple years ago, was to really get my gut health under control, my diet, and to understand what was going on because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now, I struggle with IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. And it's not pleasant. There was a point in time where, if not every day, every other day, I literally had an upset stomach, or I was nauseous or had diarrhea. And I was over it. It did not lead to a happy, healthy, and joy-filled life, as I like to say. So it was a large, well, it was shameful. I don't know any other way to say it. I did not like being out in public for too long because I never knew when I was going to get an upset stomach, or I was afraid of taking Tums or antacids or any of those things for too long, because I'm like, what is this doing to my body? But then again, I was taking not probiotics, but antibiotics a lot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm screwing up my gut health. And at the time, that was when everyone was starting to talk about it. So I was really freaked out. So I just say, you know what? Enough is enough. And I said, I'm going to figure this out. Like I'm tired of it. And I talked about how I manage my IBS in another episode. But for now, what I did was I literally wrote down goals. And I said, by this time, and I gave myself a month. And I said, by this time next month, I'm going to figure out what has been wreaking havoc on my body. What is going on? And you may be thinking you're going to track what you ate and what you did for an entire month. Yeah, I did. I had to. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to figure out what was going on and how to get better. So that's what I did. So I wrote down everything that I ate for an entire month. Every bite, every lick, every chew, every taste of something. And when I didn't have a journal with me, I wrote it in my phone. And I never thought to look at nutrition labels. I never thought to really pay attention to what gut health really was. I never thought to really evaluate what antibiotics were doing to my system. And that was just ignorance on my part, because I just wasn't exposed to what all of that meant for me. And I had to learn. So by the end of that month, y'all, my diet was trash. It was awful. And it's like, no wonder why I felt bad all the time. Like, I had so much junk food in my journal. I ate fried foods from wherever. I didn't really, I would prepare my food, but I wasn't always diligent about taking a lunch. And so I ate out a lot. And then when I actually went back and looked at my receipts for these things, I spent a lot of money on junk. And I'm like, no wonder why I was going to the doctor or urgent care or whatever every couple of weeks or days in some cases, because I was not treating my body well. And I had to go back and apologize to myself, because I was like, oh my word, this is horrible. So once you know better, you do better, right? No. I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, well, I can stop eating that. Or maybe if I just don't do this, it'll be fine. Nope. It got worse. So I finally decided to just say enough. I took a deep dive. I evaluated all of those things. And I started making a more conscious effort to look at food labels and to understand, okay, this seemingly has a lot of sodium in it. That might have something to do with why I'm so swollen and puffy all the time. And I started to research it and look up those things. And when I would go to the doctor, I would say, hey, this is what I've learned as a result of researching the food that I had. What do you think? And they'd say, yep, you're on the right track. Try to take that out for a while and see how you feel once you start doing that. And this was after I had discovered Hashimoto's disease. And, when you initially figure out what's going on, you're very diligent and then you fall off the wagon. So this is me going back after I've fallen off the wagon. So it was really and truly a give and take. And I appreciated that relationship that I had with my physician at the time. And it really encouraged me just to keep going, because as I took out more things, I started to feel better naturally, but then I started to do more of a deep dive, and I was looking at, okay, how much sugar is in this stuff? What can I pronounce everything on the label of these things? If I can't, I need to stop eating it. And it was very drastic at times, but I needed to really pull back in order to see, what does my body need? And I'm really happy to report that, yeah, it was tedious. I'm not going to lie. It was very tedious at times. But in retrospect, I'm so glad I did it, because now I have all of this information to inform me of when I'm about to go out. You might want to take a Tums or a Pepto-Bismol before you eat that, because 9 times out of 10, that's going to have some type of gluten product in it. Or if it's dairy, your stomach is going to get upset. And I don't have to verbalize that anymore to anyone. And it just makes it less stressful on me, because I worried about what I would eat. So naturally I would get more stressed out, and then my stomach would get upset. And it was that downward spiral that I was constantly working against. So I no longer had that worry or concern, which again started to help, and it made me feel a lot better. But here's the other lesson that I learned too, was you have to be okay with failing. And I can't tell you how many times throughout this journey I have failed. And we put such a negative connotation to that word. And I have made a pact with myself that I said I will fail, and fail often. And that's because the more I try something, or as my friend Allison says, just pull the trigger. Once you pull the trigger, evaluate where things went and readjust. And that is what I've started doing with my diet. And it's been so wonderful. I can't even begin to describe how freeing it's been. And now I'm able to actually meal prep every Saturday or Sunday. Typically, I prepare my food. And now I've gotten to a point where I truly eat primarily fruits and vegetables, more vegetables than fruit, but I'm learning how to get the healthy fat from things other than meat. I do eat animal protein, but again, I'm doing more research on, okay, where do I go if I'm going to get that? But like this week, I'm only eating vegetables. And that is because I was traveling a lot and I wanted to really clean out my system, and not just like from a digestive perspective, but just like my skin was broken out and I was really overwhelmed. And I don't like using that word, but I tend to get very overwhelmed when I haven't really eaten properly, and I just feel backed up and just bloated and inflamed. And even during that time of traveling, I tried to do a good job of staying diligent, but very quickly I felt my joints started to ache, and I said, okay, I need to get back home and I need to get my life together. So it's really, really clear to me what I need to do at this point. But for you, especially if you're starting out early in this journey, it's not always that difficult, clear, or even understandable in a lot of cases. And that's why I wanted to just share, it is frustrating, it is tedious, but on the other side of that it's just wonderful. So I wanted to just talk you through how I was able to start cleaning up my diet. And you can do this often. You can always reevaluate what you're eating. And right now I'm not doing dairy because I also noticed that I had a lot of dairy last week and the week before that, and my skin also started breaking out around that time. So I'm pulling back from dairy to see, okay, is that also contributing to my skin breaking out? So that's the beauty of writing down what you eat, because you can see, all right, I ate this or I didn't eat this, and now I'm starting to see that it's coming out in my skin. So I just wanted to give you a couple of quick tips in terms of what I did, and that is I wrote things down. I evaluated what I ate. Once I understood what I was consuming, I made a plan to say, all right, I'm going to take baby steps. And once I've understood what I can eat that feels good to me, then I can start incorporating that more and more in my diet. And then it makes it a lot easier to start trying out new things. And that's exactly what I did. So once I journaled, I evaluated, I started removing things from my diet, and then I added more whole and nutritious foods in place of what I was eating. And now I've been able to see that I have a lot more energy than what I did before. And it just makes things easier. Also, the weight loss that I experienced from doing that was also an added bonus. So I think within that first month, I may have lost 10 pounds. So it's always, for me, I've learned it always starts in the kitchen and what you're eating in terms of that weight loss journey. So for me, as a result of evaluating my diet and making healthier food choices, the downstream effect was weight loss. It was mental clarity and focus. It was having a lot more energy, and I just felt better. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you guys today. Don't forget to sign up for the Healthy Together Facebook group that is free. And you can do that at ebonycolina.com/healthy together. And I hope you guys have an amazing day today, and share with me some of your lessons learned. I hang out on Instagram at ebonycolina, and I'd love to hear some of your takeaways. So with that, be healthy, be whole, and be well. Take care. Okay, thyroid warriors, get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.